very good.
Thank you guys for coming out and drinking a little bit. You guys all look very fancy tonight. This is my current look. I call it Hot Vietnam Vet. Thank you. Also, a guy who confidently drinks at Mariano's in the afternoon. All right. Also, speaking of booze, don't forget we got drink specials all night. And with that out of the way, are you ready for your next comedian?
I loved the premise of it. It was so creative and fresh. I thought that the characters were all really interesting. There was great development of them throughout the film. And I was genuinely interested in each of their stories and seeing where they started and where they ended up and all the lessons learned along the way. It was comedic, but there was also kind of this there was a dramatic element, there was a kind of mystical element, and just so many good one-liners. And it touched on so many different subjects and so many different issues in a way that wasn't in your face, but kind of just leaves you with like a nice feeling of like it's doing good work. And it's not a shallow or superficial kind of comedy, like it is talking about real things and real issues that are affecting our world today. And we get to see it kind of through the lens of somebody from, 2 centuries earlier.
The performances were all awesome. I especially loved Mark Twain with his southern drawl and the warmth between him and the other main characters. The writing was really thoughtful, tapping into some of Mark Twain's actual sentiments. I enjoyed the various scenes with intelligent philosophical dialogues about freedom of expression, the banning of materials, and cancel culture. Entertaining plotline, too, culminating in the duel. Lots of good humor in the film, not surprising given the nature of the characters. Really fun idea to have a lot of instrumental Southern folk songs under certain scenes with Twain. I thought this was brilliant to set the tone. Perfect choice of locations all over Chicago, from the harbor to the bar to the school and apartment.
Samuel Clemens is an American treasure, and we're a young country, so we have to look back at what we have. And as far as great voices that really speak to everybody, Mark Twain is definitely there. So he comes up a lot in commentary, but as far as being able to see him against today, the backdrop of today, and how things would go, with him right now, this is a fun premise to have a kind of just a magical realism here of having to be present in the present day and dealing with cancellation, social media, journalism, and of course helping this comedian with her humor, because he was the great humorist, probably invented the genre of humorist, if that's a genre anyway.
This was so creative, such a unique plot and characters. I really loved this. Very, very smartly written and performed as well. Hilarious. There were so many funny lines. I can't quote them all. One of my favorites was explaining humors like dissecting a frog. Just so much to love about this. The directing, the acting, the writing, the editing, the costumes, wardrobe, casting, all of it was just so good. And like I said, just a creative story, way to put a message in about banning books and guns, having too many bullets in them without being overly, there was obviously a lot of stuff about politics in here, but it wasn't it was within the comedy of the situation of these characters. It was just really hilarious. I liked the drawing effect when it looked like a drawing sometimes when you're transitioning from one scene to another, just like an actual sketch of a building or something transitioning to the building. That was a cool effect. I like that a lot.
How ludicrous it is that we are canceling everything that might be even slightly offensive to spare people's feelings, and this film addresses all of that in quite a humorous way, where it kind of goes where, like Mark Twain told her, we're being worried, and that's not really how you're supposed to live. Don't worry about everybody else. the fact that she was canceled, that Charlie did end up getting canceled herself, you could see why she's worried, because she's the victim of it. And she could see how it is, and really the contrast between the two characters worked well, where she's tense and worried, but Mark Twain is aloof and carefree and saying that's just how life should be. Don't worry what other people think. Just let it roll off your back. And she's in the real world where she struggles to find a good job. She's struggling to become a stand-up comic without getting more canceled by doing jokes that people will like that aren't too offensive. This film kind of put everything in it that's relatable, like comedies used to do, where people could sit back and relax and enjoy them. And this one really does that, where it has the classical feel of a comedy with the modern twist to it.
Fun and entertaining film. They have the very, very coolest characters and very cute performances. I liked uncovering all the different quotes from Mark Twain's work. I had a great time watching this film with all the crazy situations with language misinterpretations and differences in the times. The character uncovering all these modern times, our gadgets, our ways of doing things. It's a beautiful story, and I think they give us nice lessons on humans going against progress and understanding each other. I think we've come a long way in a lot of ways. However, some things seem to get worse. I love this idea of an ancient character coming and noticing or making us notice what's going on, all the efforts that have been done to get us here, and then how we kind of miss those opportunities to be better.
Overcoming fears and owning your spotlight. We see our leading lady here at the beginning as she is ready to take on the stage, but she's not so ready, is she? She's having this sense of fear, the sense of panic. She ends up crossing paths with none other than Mark Twain and kind of bringing him into the present and to our current realities here. And he's kind of dumbfounded and realizing that he's essentially canceled. We have now been brought to this unique companionship between the two, and through this encounter and this experience, it changes not only the nephew, but herself as well. So by the end of the piece, we've kind of seen them all come together, but we've also seen her take this opportunity to, not only make a new friend, but to be able to grow from that experience and to be able to eventually have the courage to get on stage and kind of have a real moment with the audience, but then twist it and have these elements of humor, which is exactly the art of what a stand-up comedian does.